everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. Comcast is terrible. And I'm here with my guys. How's it going, everybody?
It's going well. I don't guess we're going to get Comcast a sponsor anytime soon with those kinds of comments.
Are you guys there? Because I see a blank screen.
We see you.
We see you.
Yeah, we see you pretty well.
And we hear you. Well, now you're frozen like you're trying to call a football play.
Right. Or, you know, he's going to do a cannonball right here.
Hey, he could be a straight pitcher. Maybe let's make use of jalapeno.
Well, at least it's not just Comcast. It's just Signal in general. How's it going, Wen? Thanks for joining us. We may be here. Who knows? Comcast. Yeah, that is exactly right. It's, man.
That's okay. Look, Comcast and AT&T right now for me is about as reliable as the left side of the Cowboys' pass defense.
Nah, it's probably still better than that.
Damn, bro, you could at least give me that one, shoot. But you're probably right.
Well, we might as well talk about your Cowboys here.
Yeah.
And how awesome they aren't. So
yeah,
you guys made the Giants look tough.
It's so hard to do that too. I don't know, for them anyway. I was looking at that up until about, I think it was maybe even halfway through the second quarter. Our leading rusher was CeeDee Lamb with 10 yards. Everybody else had 1 for 5, 1 for 6, whatever. But CeeDee was our leading rusher going almost into the half at 10 yards.
Yeah.
I just kind of let you know where our pass or our rush game was.
Which was also 1 carry. Like you were you were in the third quarter and had like 40 yards.
Yeah, it was so sad. It was sad. And and I gotta tell you, man, Thibodeau, he actually really kind of got into Dak a little bit, disrupted some things a little bit. So, and I knew when they drafted him, I felt like he was going to be out of Oregon. He was going to be really good, and I think he's starting to really now develop into the defensive end that they were looking for. As he gets older, he's getting really. I think he's looking really good. So, kudos to him, honestly.
It's funny. Pags is trying to get back in, but all I have is a blank screen down there. So I feel like our connection today is that Dallas defense. There's moments, but it's mostly full of holes and really. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, hey. It really is. We got you, Pags.
Well, yeah, something.
Maybe. Well, at least this is going to be just a disaster of a show with starting out strong. I like it. Let's go.
So,
Hurricane Helena edition.
Yeah, this is a wonderful start. At least they closed the pool here, so we can't go swimming, which is a bummer because I really wanted to go swimming. Other than that, I'm stuck in Orlando. I would show you the airport, but you can't go outside onto the deck.
You guys aren't allowed to venture out, or is that thing just locked?
It has one of the slide locks that you can unslide, but then you can't open the door because the lock is on the door, and they didn't give us a key.
Gotcha.
So I guess they don't want anybody jumping or.
I'm about to say they got some suicide issues over there that they don't want nobody to go on the deck.
I can't answer these questions.
I'm just saying they can at least give you a discount since you couldn't use the deck.
I mean, when you're a fan of it,
and you can't use the pool either, so they should at least give you a little bit of compensation there.
Well, and seeing that I'm supposed to be in Tampa, it's like I got the whole thing going here.
Yep. It's going smooth. It's a good way to wrap up the week.
Exactly. But I am stronger than the storm, and there's nothing that's going to keep me from going to this Eagles game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you get to travel down there today then?
No.
Not at all.
Tampa is closed today.
Okay. All right. Well, that's always fun.
The bridge to Tampa is closed.
Yeah.
So you can't get in. They had a really heavy surge. The rain wasn't the problem. It was the storm surge that was the issue.
So if you got into Tampa last night, you can't leave Tampa right now. You got to figure out what you're going to do.
Well, they were showing. I mean, I was watching some of the updates and stuff like that, and they were showing like people driving across the bridge as the surge was occurring, and I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like I'm
good.
Like if I had a Jeep,
I mean,
I'd have been fine.
Cojones to go across a bridge with the surge coming. I mean, that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That would have been interesting.
I mean, I've been through a lot of hurricanes, but damn, I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy enough to do that.
So I went across the Mackinac Bridge. Is it the Mackinac?
Yeah, Mackinac. Yeah, Mackinac Island Bridge or whatever.
And that's an interesting bridge to go over. The wind comes off so hard off of where Superior, I guess it's Superior and Michigan meet.
Yep.
That it will pressurize your cabin in a truck as long as you only have one window open. I learned that the hard way. So I'm driving across. And you could feel that the wind is crazy. Literally pressurized our cabin. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I'm like, look at all this wind going on, and I don't feel a thing. Next thing you know, I cracked open the other window. We went across 3 lanes of traffic. Thank God there was no traffic. It looked like a tornado went off in our car with every little piece of paper that was not nailed down came flying up and just swirled around the car. It was hysterical, actually. It was very funny. We're like, oh, Christ. And then you can't get the pressure back. You can't just close the window and think it's going to be okay. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Now it's just a dumpster fire.
Now you got to close all the windows. So
I got you.
So something to learn when you cross the Mackinac Bridge. If you ever need to go into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which I don't expect many will.
Yeah, when I lived in Sheboygan, I think we went up there one time, and that was the one time and only time I think we ever went up there. And, that was about it. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, I hear you. I mean, I'm sure that there are places in Tampa that are open, but we have to change our hotel. We got to change our hotel and stuff like that because the hotel we were going to stay at was on Clearwater Beach, and they're not opening. So we have to figure out different scenarios. But like I said, we're stronger than the storm. We're stronger than the Giants. I can tell you that.
And the Cowboys.
Well, I tell you, they didn't give up. That game was interesting. We couldn't run the ball really all that much, and we certainly couldn't defend the run really all that much. So,
yeah, but that's been true all year.
Yeah, it has. No, it really, honestly, it has.
Like, right, you guys are dead last in defending the run this year.
Yeah,
which is impressive because there are some bad teams out there.
That game sucked last night completely.
It was a rough watch,
and thank God that I got the hook, the extra 5, the half a point, because I knew sure as hell he was going to miss that kick. He's been making them from 60 for like a week now.
Yep.
You know, like just let's kick 60-yarders. We can do that. You knew he was going to miss that kick because the hook was going to get people.
Of course, every time. Every time there's that 0.5, you're like,
every 0.5. God damn it. That's why you got to play the Canadian League. They have 1-point plays.
Yeah, I still don't get that. Like, if you miss, but it's close, you get a point. Like that is
no, not if it's close. It's got to go out of the end zone, 20 yards.
There's a game. What game was it? I think it was Edmonton and Montreal 2 weeks ago, where Montreal was down by, or no, Montreal was tied.
It was tied.
They kicked the field goal, and
they had to make a 40-yard field goal, so he missed it on purpose, and they won by a point.
I mean, I don't think he missed it on purpose.
No, he missed it on purpose. Like, he literally went up and just kicked it wide left on purpose.
I mean,
and just hard. He kicked it hard.
Yeah, he literally just kicked it out of the end zone to get the point. didn't even care about making the kick because there's 2 seconds left on the clock. You're tied. All you got to do is put that field goal through the end zone, and it's a point.
The thing that's funny about that is if I was a kicker, I'd have still kicked the hell out of it, right? So you get the point no matter what, but I still want to make it. Like, maybe that's just a thing, but there's this like.
So does that make it a 4-point play if they kick it through the uprights and out of the end zone?
No, it's just 3.
Yeah, well, then what's the point?
What the hell?
And then you get points on kickoffs though too. Like if you kick it, you don't have to kick it out of the end zone on kickoffs, but if you kick it, because I think their end zones are each like 25 yards deep, like
20 yards.
20 yards deep. So if you kick it
through the uprights on the kickoff,
or if you kick it 15 yards deep into the end zone, you get a point on the kickoff.
Yeah, it's also for quarterback sneaks there. You don't need to worry about a tush push because if you are a quarter of a yard short of the first down, the defense has to line up a yard back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have the goalpost like right on the goal line, so there's several people that actually run into the goalpost when they're trying to catch pass because that goalpost is literally 1 yard right beyond the goal line.
The NFL was that way.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And
till somebody just about decapitated themselves off of that thing.
And then all of a sudden, who knew? They moved those things.
The CFL has not moved those things yet.
The CFL, but the CFL now, it's actually kind of cool because you can actually use it as a pick move.
Yes, you can. And they can also line up how the arena football lines up where the wide receiver can get a running start before the ball is snapped. Like in the arena league, how you have that one receiver that can like go 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and run before the ball snap. They can do that in the CFL too.
Yeah, Joe, how about those Cowboys? Like, man.
They stink. P.U.
That so freaking depresses me.
Like, I feel like as a Cowboys fan,
I literally have to go see my therapist when I'm done with this show because of all that Cowboy hate. I mean, and it's justified. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying when this show's over, I literally think I need to pick.
You're lucky you weren't on. You're lucky you weren't on with our interview yesterday because Connor was ready to tear you up for being a Cowboy fan.
That's a Cowboy fan saying, "How about them Cowboys?" I'm sure he meant it in like a real way. I just read it in the disappointed dad way because that's exactly.
Well, Joe is a Cowboys fan.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's like, he probably means that is like, how about them Cowboys? But I just read it as that condescending dad, like, how about them Cowboys? Because I mean, yeah, how about them?
Yeah.
Could they? I mean, you got to beat the teams on your schedule, and a win's a win. But man, they sure look like everybody else is going to beat them.
The worst part about it is like I said, Parsons went down, Law went down. So our defense is already crappy. Now it just got even crappier because our two main guys are in the front seven are done, or done at least probably for the next game or so. So that's even worse. And I don't even know who we got next, but
yeah, just liking not liking the Cowboys. Just irrational hate for them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's okay. Hey, that's fine. I mean, people can hate the Cowboys all they want. I mean, that's what makes us in the news.
So I do have a real question for you.
Yeah,
like what do you take out of? Oh, Handy's gone. What do you take out of this game moving forward? Like, did you see anything that you feel good about? Because I mean, I didn't. Like, I didn't see anything in there.
I will say this: I was glad to see that Dak didn't throw any interceptions. And he didn't turn the ball over. I mean, that was a nice positive, and it was good to see him getting Ferguson back in off that injured list. And now he was actually quite effective. He had like 49 yards. I mean, there was a couple of small things in there that were good, but it wasn't enough to make you feel good. It was just enough to say, yeah.
He was throwing a pretty accurate ball, so I will give him that.
But I mean, in all honesty, that really was about all there was to that game. I mean, Aubrey hit a good field goal, but then of course he missed one. But I mean, that guy, you can't be 100% all the time from 60 yards. I mean, at some point you're going to miss one. I mean, that's just a hell of a long way to kick the ball. And they were asking him how far he kicks at practice. He only kicks, he won't kick beyond 58. He says he really doesn't like to do that because then if he tries to kick it too far or try to extend that 58 or whatever, he feels like it's going to mess up his kicking motion, which then could affect his shorter distance kicks. So, if he misses one every now and then on the 60-yard range, I'm not going to hate the guy because he, 9 times out of 10 he hits it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, the dude has an absolute cannon for a leg. So, I mean,
quite honestly, he leads the Cowboys in points too. So he's really kind of like our MVP. So,
no, that tracks. Yeah.
I mean, damn.
Man.
Just don't hurt the kicker because he's our most valuable guy.
All right. So before you disappear there, Pags.
And so it's coming again.
Oh, of course. You're doing your best vintage stat guy action.
Hey, I don't do that much anymore.
Which we appreciate.
The wife now knows that he's doing podcasts and not getting paid.
Yeah, that's right.
That too, and she works at the school.
So she can't watch.
Nope.
And not get paid.
Nope.
So my prediction.
Nope.
There he goes. We almost got it. He's
still there.
Am I back? Am I here? Am I not here?
Wait, quick, where you go?
No, it was the best pause ever because it's like my prediction gone.
I predict that I won't be here much longer.
Exactly. So anyway, what do you got?
I think the Eagles will win this game.
Yeah,
they like to win regular season games in Tampa.
Yeah, they do.
Playoffs in Tampa, they have a hard time, but regular season games they win.
Yeah, I actually kind of feel like this game is going to look weirdly similar to the one we watched last night. Like it's just going to be kind of an ugly game. I think you guys win also, but I think it's going to be like an ugly win.
I disagree. I think that we are going to run all over Tampa.
Okay.
I think that this is going to be the Saquon Barkley show.
Yeah.
I mean, John said that about New Orleans. There he goes. Now I can talk all the shit I want.
It's funny because I saw the buffering screen come up. I was like, "Is that my Comcast again?" Like, God damn. Clearly, this show is just going to be a grind to get through. It's.
You know what's funny about it is usually it's me or maybe even stat guy down there that's going through this issue. Y'all are usually the stable ones now. We're the stable ones, and you guys are all over.
I mean, it is a hot trash connection today. My coffee really needed some Baileys or some Jameson at this point. Like, if I didn't have more shows to do today, man.
Hey, they said that same thing though about New Orleans, and I thought New Orleans handled the business with Philadelphia quite well. And look, if you watch Pags on Facebook, he was leading down there on the sidelines, the Eagles chant. He was saying that they were going to run up and down all over New Orleans, and what happened? They got spanked. So I don't know, but I know he's confident about going down there and running it over Tampa, but I don't believe that that's going to be the case, or at least not quite as easy as he thinks.
Yeah, and when you are, you're not wrong, but all things being equal, Comcast can fail to a Bluebird day. So, like, it could be beautiful outside. Everything is perfect. Comcast will still completely shit the bed.
Well, hey, like I said, out here, AT&T can do it. It's the same way. I mean, it could be beautiful and sunny, but yet your connection is horrible.
Hold on. Stop saying it because I'm listening and I'm 30-second delay. Next time I check,
look at the veins already popping out. Let's go.
Did they not? And we ran for 190 yards against New Orleans. So we ran all over New Orleans. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Jay.
Yeah,
stop drinking and taking the medicine at the same time while you're watching football.
Hey, listen,
because you don't know what I'm talking about.
Regulation class is paying off because every time it does not take much to get that blood just boiling.
Well, yeah, because you're talking crap.
Oh yeah, of course I am.
But no, I'm talking actual crap is coming out of your mouth.
Okay, go.
I mean, the stuff that you're saying doesn't make any sense.
I was a little low on energy, and I just wanted to amp it up.
It doesn't make any sense. It's wrong. It's just straight wrong. You're giving wrong analysis.
All the way wrong.
We give correct analysis here, Jay. We give correct analysis here.
Down the damn field. You're probably good beating Tampa. So I don't know if it's 100% wrong. Maybe you're freaking wrong.
To be fair, when is the last time Jay has given us accurate analysis? Like 0 days
down there leading the Eagles chance only to come away with the freaking big L. How you like them apples?
What are you talking about?
New Orleans.
They won that game.
Oh, no, the New Orleans game, they lost, didn't they?
We won.
Won.
Okay, my bad. I thought they lost.
This is what I'm talking about. Get off the sauce, Jay. Off the sauce.
That's good. No, but I really do think that. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as easy down in Tampa, though. I don't think it's going to be easy staying.
Man.
Hold on. Didn't the Broncos just spank Tampa in Tampa?
Sure did. Like, beat the brakes off them.
Yeah, and I understand that game, but that Tampa game or the Broncos game, I got to give you that. Bo Nix actually did pretty well, I thought. You know, being a rookie, I thought he played quite well.
The fuck are you talking about, Jay?
I don't know what he's talking about at all. Did you watch any of the game, Jay?
Yeah.
Any of it at all?
No, I was actually watching the Cowboys.
It kept saying EA Sports. Like, I don't know.
It's in the game.
Wow.
I miss those old EA Sports commercials.
Yes.
Those are great.
Yep, they were pretty good.
I tell you, it's this
The graphics weren't too bad.
This show specifically is going to get us some Emmys.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with an Emmy, damn it.
We're gonna win an Emmy for this show specific.
I think you have the award wrong. I think it's a Razzie is the word you're looking for there. This gets a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
An award is an award. You still get the damn hardware for it.
I mean, is that really one you want?
Yeah, because if they razzed us, if they razzed us, I'm okay with that. That means somebody's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, besides, that would be a hilarious one to go collect the award for.
But I'm glad somebody's laughing at this song. I mean, this is across the board. It's like, hey, we're stuck in Orlando. It's, you know, he's stuck with some pills in his head or whatever. Like that. Definitely, it's. I will definitely say that the therapy is working, Jay.
Hey, they're paying, the VA's paying for it, and they're hooking me up for sure. I mean, if you didn't see me about 10,
well,
about 5
I would say
years
you get
ago,
such quality care from the VA.
What's that?
You get definitely quality care from the VA.
I mean, those.
Well, I'll tell you what. I take the care that I get from the VA because if I paid for what I had to pay for in the civilian world, I probably would be drowning in debt. So I'm very, very thankful for the VA because for what they do in his life for me, it's amazing.
And I'm not busting balls on the VA. I'm actually just poking fun at you, Jay.
No, it's okay. I like being poked fun at. It's okay. Look, my wife pokes fun at me. It's okay, man. I got thick skin. Okay, I can do this.
So this comment here is hilarious because
so if you start the season 0-8, it doesn't matter if you win those last 9 games, is what he's saying.
Well, no, I think what he's saying is it doesn't matter how you start because they were going to lose in November anyway.
Yeah, because come December, they really start to shit the bed.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
And then in January, it's like, okay, we're going to play one game, and then we're going to go back home.
Yeah,
or in last year's case, we're going to play one game and then we're going to stay home.
Yeah, no, they're already on an airplane to Cabo. Like they're planning their trip right now. They're on TripAdvisor, just clicking away.
Did y'all hear about I guess there's a player out there at UNLV that said he wouldn't play because I guess he was promised the keys to the city and
The quarterback.
Yeah,
I just saw that today.
He was promised $100,000 in NIL money, and UNLV only gave him $3.
Yeah. So
wow.
So another player has dropped out. He dropped out yesterday, and it was funny because they wrote the story like it was going to be some big, thing, and then you keep reading, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's their fourth option at running back." It's like, well, then who cares? Like, like it's a dude that's barely touching the field. So yeah, okay, he wants to redshirt. That's not exactly crippling the team here. Losing your quarterback. That's, right. Losing your fourth option at running back does nothing.
Right. But the fact that he took an upper decker really made everybody unhappy throughout the whole locker room.
That is good. Ain't nobody want to smell that.
Exactly. Weeks on end, they're trying to figure out what's the problem. Why is it having a hard time flushing?
And for those of you that don't know what an upper decker is, go to Urban Dictionary. It'll be fun.
Exactly.
Man, the just dumb stuff that happens on this show.
It's never a dull moment, is it?
It never is, and it's partially brought to you by True Fusion Gym. Not sure why they're doing it, but if you use the QR code on the screen, you can get a free 5-day pass to Pilates, boot camp, yoga, bar, any of the hot rooms at the 3 locations in Bellevue, Ballard, or University Village. Obviously, those are here in the Pacific Northwest. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym.
What's a Pilates?
Pilates.
I know, but you started to say Pilates, and then you corrected yourself, so I was going to say, what's a Pilates?
Oh, it's because I started to say bar. So... which I'm going to go to later because today is awesome.
I am right there with you.
I should not be the Mariners' next head coach. I mean, granted, there's low stress. There is very low stress because you don't have to win. And, since we're going to talk about the Mariners, I guess, it was great for them to miss the playoffs in a day that they didn't even play a game. Way to get fired on your day off. That is the most Mariners thing you can do. So good job, guys. No, it was funny. I had someone, because I was just like, man, in true Mariners fashion, they missed the playoffs again by 3 games and whatever. And when it's all said and done, it'll probably actually be like 2 games. But, someone jumped in on my comment and they're just like, oh, but didn't they get to the playoffs like 2 years ago? I was like, well, yeah. But then the last time before that, it was 2001. So it's one time in 22 years. It's not exactly like, hot damn, here we go. Like this. Yeah. So there's that.
I'll tell you what, from that AO side, though, that Cleveland Guardians team really, I think that's going to be a very difficult team in the postseason. I know the Yankees got the best record on the AL side, but Jesus, that Guardians team scares me a little bit. We played them actually. This is our last series this season we played them, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Astros compete against them.
Nobody wants us to
close, baby. We need it, man. We got a tough series tonight. Or is it tonight? I think we start that series.
You don't.
Yeah, but are you guys not even going to be playing any of your pitchers?
Yeah,
I don't think this is a tough series. I think this is a let's go and put our pitchers in the right order series. So you're going to have like 2 bullpen games.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a real, and I got to imagine the Guardians are probably doing the same thing, right? I mean,
probably. Actually, probably not. Probably not because they got the bye.
Yeah, the Guardians will have the first round off, so the Guardians.
Yeah, you're right. The Yankees and the Guardians, right? You get the buys.
They'll go with their.
You're probably going to get spanked for the next 3 games.
Definitely the Urban Dictionary, their win.
He's actually over there looking it up, too. I'm like, oh wow.
And Brad, I think you're right. Pag's been saying it all year, but man, they definitely look like they can do it. And see, this is where I'm at. That's why I was like, Joe, we don't need this negativity. You just keep that stuff to yourself. How's it going, Wrath? Yeah, man.
So I'm just waiting for the next time it drops, because I know it's coming. Like it's going to be in a matter of like any moment now. It's just going to be like gone.
I feel like it'll be both of us next time, right? So you'll start to drop out, and then mine will just be like a blank screen.
And then 6 hours later, we'll be able to finally turn off the show.
Yeah, all of a sudden I get a message from Mac like, "Hey, you're overrunning someone else's show because you can't shut it down." Man. Yep.
So how was the guy yesterday? Let's talk about that for half a second since I was there.
Good.
Yeah, no, it was a cool thing to have him pop in. It was a kind of a shorter interview. I think we had him for roughly 20 minutes or so. And of course, if you're watching now and you missed the show yesterday, obviously you can find it on YouTube and you can see the first 20 minutes of the show.
Perfect. Yeah.
So he was taking
that first 20 minutes.
Yeah, he was taking his week off this week because
you missed the first 55 minutes.
Yeah, he's taking his week off this week because the AAA season ended last Sunday. So he's taking his week off this week to go back home. So he went back home to Arkansas this week, and then he's going to the Arkansas-Texas A&M game this weekend. And then he goes home for a couple more days next week before heading out to Arizona to do some of his off-season work.
Yep. It will end up being, yeah, exactly. There he goes. Man.
And he did say this morning that he would like to come on sometime in the spring when spring training starts.
Yeah, no, it sounded like he doesn't really take a lot of time off. Sounds like he just kind of takes a week or two to get right and then heads to the facility to start working next year. So, yeah. I mean, you gotta respect the hustle of that because
yeah, I mean, that's what the great ones do. They stay in their gym and they're like gym rats.
Exactly. No days off. Like if you want to be better than the next guy, then you got to outwork him.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like my nephew. Like even when he doesn't play varsity ball, then he's got winter ball. Then he plays in this Texas Premier League. And he's only a junior in high school, but it's just like 24/7 baseball. There's really no downtime too much for him. So I respect the grind. I respect the hustle. Those are the ones that if you're gonna make it in that league, that's what you got to do.
Well, especially because he's still trying to get to the majors, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But I respect him. He's got, his parents support him, and his uncle played for Sam Houston State, so he kind of gets a little bit of guidance from him, and hopefully he'll make it. I mean, but you know how it is, man. Not everybody makes it. Even if you work your butt off, I mean, it's still a grind.
I mean, there's only so many roster spots, so yeah. I mean, you can have immense talent and just still not quite be enough to get there.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because we talk about all the people that actually play in professional sports, but we don't realize how hard it is to even get to that level. I mean, even though they, whatever. But yeah, mad respect.
Yeah. No, I mean, even just getting to the arena level was.
Oh, for sure.
Ton of work.
For sure.
Ton of work.
You got to try out season like everybody else. So you're still trying to, I don't know how many people are trying out for your teams and stuff like that in the arena league. I'm sure it's a lot, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they have combines and everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like you're going and you're running through time drills and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's
I've seen arena football a few times. I just didn't really know a whole lot about the process of how all that works.
Yeah, well, I mean,
getting drafted or what have you.
Because the game's different, right? So the path I took there, I played semi-pro before going there. And so on the semi-pro team, we won a national championship, and that's how we ended up getting called to try out for various teams. I think 8 different people on that team made it to different arena teams, which was very cool. But, at the same time, you still had to go through and, try out for the teams and, go through time drills, and you ran a 40 and all of that. So, I mean, it's Yeah. I mean, it was a process. And of course, at the same time, there's also a limited number of those teams. So, I mean, it's not like everybody that tries out is making a team. So, yeah.
That's what I really respect the Kurt Warner story because he really did go from grocery bags to arena, and he bounced around all that before he even got called up. I mean, just an impressive story, when I learned about it. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a few guys that played in arena. Warren Moon, I believe, did. What Flutie played for the CFL to get his shot. I can't remember if he ended up playing arena too, but I know he's one of the best players ever to play up in the CFL.
Right.
So
and Warren Moon passed for a lot of yards up there when he was in the CFL before he even made it to the NFL. And I always thought, if he, would have had, if he could have gotten to the NFL right off the jump after the draft or whatever, how many more yards could he have passed? Because he was up there in the passing yards, right? I mean, I just wonder how much more he could have gotten. Yeah,
I mean, obviously Moon was an absolute stud once he finally made it to the league. But yeah, I mean, had he made it sooner, sure.
I mean, that would have been interesting to see for sure. I think, did he play for Minnesota after he left the Oilers? I think he
played for Minnesota. He played with Minnesota for like 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he came here to Seattle.
That's interesting.
In fact, this guy right here is Warren Moon.
Nice.
I got that, oddly enough, I got that signed when I was a kid. He still played for the Oilers. He just happened to come to this like tiny little mall that I was at, right? I didn't even know they were doing it. There was just a card show at this really just terrible little mall. And it was funny because I was just walking through and then there was a card show and Warren Moon happened to be sitting there. And I was playing football with my friends with this knockoff off-brand weird football. And I was just like, oh, you signed my ball, I guess. Like, so that's why this ball is like, it looks like it's covered in dirt. It's because it was. We were literally playing football with it earlier in the day. Had no idea it was coming. So.
Hey, put that up on eBay and you can say it's a game-used ball.
Technically true. Not it in, but.
Nice.
Yep. I'm going to make the statement now. The next time I disappear will be the last time I disappear this week.
Oh, I figured. I'm actually surprised you came back this time.
I was just like, all right, I'm going to give it one more shot. And so I'll say goodbye now just in case.
Yep. So are you, are they basically saying you can't go down there until tomorrow then? Is that the deal?
That's what the deal is.
Okay.
However, I get to introduce to our group today because we were able to change all the things. I am going to respectfully introduce Mr. Brian Dawkins to our group today, and we're going to have a 1 hour question and answer session with B-Dawk.
Sweet.
Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins.
No, that's awesome.
So even though I'm not down in Tampa and I'm not doing all the things that we were going to do, because we were going to also meet Vince Papale, but we're not doing that this time because it was going to be on a boat, and you just don't want to go out into any waters after a hurricane's been through.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we're going to try to keep everybody safe and on dry land as best we can.
Well, how's the wind where you are right now? I mean, the last time you were outside, was it still pretty heavy?
Super good since signal keeps dropping out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. Actually, the wind here isn't bad anymore. It's actually a fairly nice day. Here, because right after a hurricane goes through, it's usually clear skies.
Yeah, it is. Once the dust settles, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to play.
And realistically, do they?
How about this? How about the Mets and the Braves having to play a doubleheader on Monday?
Possibly.
Yeah.
It all depends on seeding. If Atlanta is eliminated by that point, they will not play it.
I don't like that either.
It's all based on seed. That's why the Philadelphia and the Nationals today. Can Philly still get the number 1 seed right now?
Yes.
So then they would play, because if Philly would have been in a position where they couldn't have moved up, they would have just canceled the game and been like, "It is what it is. You can't move."
Yeah,
up.
but them winning or losing will have no bearing on whether we can get the number 1 seed or not.
I'm talking for the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs.
Right, but them winning or losing will not have a bearing on us doing that. If we win all 3 games, we'll have the number 1 seed.
But what I'm saying though is that the Phillies would have been 3 games behind the Dodgers.
I guess it depends on if the Lakers, the Dodgers.
And that's it.
There it is. Well, I guess my thought was on that, where if the Phillies would have been 4 games behind the Dodgers with 3 games left to play, and there's no way that the Phillies could have got the number 1 overall seed, they would have just canceled the game today against the Nationals. Event like, it is what it is. You play 161 games because your seed is locked in. You're locked in as the 2 seed. You can't get any higher.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Phillies would have to actually forfeit in that scenario.
No, because baseball can do it. Baseball can literally postpone the game and then look at the standings. I mean, like, this is a meaningless game for the Nationals, and technically it's a meaningless game for the Phillies because they can't lose or move up in playoff position, so we'll just wipe it. I think it happened to
I guess if everybody's locked into their
it happened to the Cubs in 2017. They ended the year 91-70 instead of 92-70 because the final series of the year, Saturday's game, got rained out, but because the Cubs already clinched the NL Central, they couldn't move higher than the seed they already had. They just said, you're just going to play one less game because this is a meaningless game. You can't move up or drop in the seedings.
Yeah.
That's why that doubleheader on Monday isn't a guarantee yet, because it depends on where Atlanta is sitting coming to Monday morning in terms of the playoff positioning, where if Atlanta's 2 games out with 2 games left, well, then, yeah, you have to play the doubleheader. But if you're 3 games out with 2 games left, then you don't have to play it, because regardless what happens, you're still going to miss the playoffs.
No, for sure. Well, and that was kind of the thing with the Mariners, coming into today, is they're 3 games out with 3 games left, but the teams that are ahead of them own the tiebreaker on the Mariners. So even though there could have been a path forward where those teams would have had to lose out, Mariners win out, the tiebreaker makes it so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, yep. Man, another season, no postseason play. I mean, if anything, Mariners are at least team players.
Can we respond to Brad right there on the bottom?
Yeah.
So the Dodger, not that one. The one.
No, I know it moved when I clicked it.
So the Dodgers are done with the Padres now. The Dodgers have the Colorado Rockies this weekend.
Yeah.
I really don't think the Dodgers are going to lose to the Colorado Rockies.
Take it easy, buddy. Have fun at the game. But yeah, I always credit the Mariners with giving us no problem as far as like which sport we're going to follow. Football season starts, the Mariners stop playing baseball. Like it works. Like if they were playing in October, then you got to split your time. They might even have a game at the same time. You got to figure out which one to watch. But because the Mariners are never playing, you just get to swap right over to the Seahawks.
Yeah. So for the Phillies to get the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs, they would have to go 3-0 against the Nationals this weekend if the Dodgers go 2-1 against the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the table's pretty much set for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, because now you're talking about scenarios where you need help, and most of these teams, if one game goes the wrong way, it's kind of not really the thing. So, although technically possible, I think the field's pretty much set.
Yeah. Besides that final wild card spot, whether it's going to be Arizona, the Mets, or the Braves.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't mind to see Arizona get back in there. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like I like to see what they can do. I mean, obviously they didn't win it last year, and they got in it. I wouldn't mind seeing them come back in it and give it another shot. I mean, I like stories that are like that. And also if the Mets made it, especially after they didn't do as well last year, and they come back this year that they made it in. I mean, that would almost be kind of a little bit of redemption for all the money they spent on that payroll.
Yeah, I mean, they do have an expensive payroll, I guess.
What team are you looking forward to see possibly getting it, Bo?
I was kind of hoping for this Northwest team to find their way in, but they decided they wanted to go on vacation or something. I don't know.
You can always root for the Astros. You can root for your divisional leader.
Yeah, no, that's not a real thing.
That's not going to happen. It's okay.
Like that would be like you rooting for the Eagles if the Cowboys don't make it. Like that's
no, trust me, I get it. I totally get all that.
Like, yeah, you hope everybody beats up your division, right? Like that's.
I'm looking forward to the AL Central. That was supposed to be the worst division in baseball.
Yeah, what, they're going to have 3 teams in there?
Technically, well, yeah, they're going to have 3 teams in the playoffs, but they actually had 4 teams of the 5 teams basically fighting to that final week of the season because the Twins ended up fading at the end. Yeah. But you're still going to have 4 of the 5 teams in that division are going to have at least 82 wins. And that was supposed to be the worst division in baseball this year.
Yeah.
You know what they say, man. Supposed to be this, supposed to be that. None of that stuff really matters.
Well, here's how bad the White Sox really are.
Yeah.
So with the Guardians, Royals, Tigers all making the playoffs, and the Twins just missing, that division is still only going to be 10 games above 500 overall because of how bad the White Sox are.
I mean, the White Sox are rough.
I mean, you're 39 and 120.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And the funny thing is, they won a game. They ended up sweeping the Angels this week, so I'd figure that one out. But they ended up winning.
They haven't actually set the record yet, then.
No, they're tied with the record. They got to lose one more.
Okay.
But they got But I think who do they play this weekend?
Yes, Rob. We did. We did beat the 78 games.
The White Sox play the Tigers this weekend, so they're going to set the record this weekend because the Tigers have to win one more game to basically clinch that final playoff spot. So they'll win tonight over the White Sox. But the thing with the White Sox, they won a game on Tuesday when they were trailing, I think 2-1 entering the 7th inning. They ended up winning 4-3.
Okay.
Do you know what their record is when trailing in the 7th inning or later this season?
That was the one game they won.
1-98. They were 0-98 when trailing, entering the 7th inning, regardless of what the score was, whether it's 1 run, 2 runs, whatever. They were 0-98.
That is amazing.
Heading into that game,
I figured that's what it would be, right? Just because they've been so god awful this year.
It would have been funny if all their wins came after trailing in the 7th inning. It would have been even funnier.
Well, as bad as they've been playing, I figured there was a chance that all of their wins were while they were trailing because they've been trailing in every single game.
Well, I think they said they've been trailing in 138 of the games this year at one point.
That's actually less of the games than I was imagining.
Like some games they ended up leading wire to wire. Like they would score in the first inning and then they would never trail. They were tied in some points of that game, but they never actually fell behind at the point in the game.
What happened? Wait.
It was like they had 4. Yeah, they beat the Angels yesterday 7-0. So they never trailed in that game. They were tied 0-0 until the 5th inning, and then they scored 6 runs in the 5th inning.
I mean, I suppose it accidentally happens from time to time.
Yeah, there's been I think they had 3 or 4 wins this year where they never trailed start to finish. But yeah, they've only had 12 games all year where they haven't trailed at any point. Otherwise, they've been trailing 138 games this year at one point.
Well, I guess before we get out of here, let's address some of these injury things. We'll start with Joe here. Jay, you know anything about the Parsons injury?
Yeah, so the only they've put out so far is that it's an ankle injury. The extent of it, I think they're still determining through MRIs and things of that nature. But obviously, him being carted on the field doesn't bode well. Mm-hmm. So I guess we still got to wait and see. But as of right now, it's an ankle. We don't know if it's high ankle sprain or what, but I guess more details to follow. But either way, it's not good for us. I don't expect to see Parsons next week. That's for sure. I think he'll be obviously on the injured list.
If that's the case, you guys probably lose next week.
Oh, for sure.
Which is funny because it's not your next game actually isn't really that hard. The schedule doesn't get.
I didn't even look at the schedule. Who do we got next week?
I think it's the Pats, isn't it?
You have a very tough schedule coming up, Jay. So you need Parsons to be healthy.
Their next game isn't crazy.
No, I think their next game is. Next game is against the Steelers on Sunday night at Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's against the Steelers. Well, I mean, you probably do lose that game.
Well,
So you get the Steelers on Sunday night, then you get the Lions, then you get the 49ers.
Oh, there we go.
Then you get the Eagles, then you get the Texans.
I tell you, I have no high expectations right now. I don't. I mean, in all honesty, I told you before we came into this season, I don't have high expectations because of the cap. I think losing Pollard was a huge thing, obviously, for the run game. Not having Bland out there on the left side to help out was a huge thing. But you're right, like you said earlier, but we got a lot of holes, man. Zach Martin is the only truly experienced offensive lineman. Everybody else is just a bunch of rookies. But we do have Steele. I want to discount Steele, but I mean, our offensive line used to be great. Now it's decent, right? It's not even good. It's just decent. But I mean, the expectation is not high, right? And then the Steelers, I mean, in all honesty, the Steelers team, Pickens, I think for Muth, the tight end, I mean, those guys could have some pretty big games, especially if they put Pickens on the left side. However, I think they're probably going to put Trayvon Diggs on Pickens. I can't imagine the Cowboys not doing that. But then again, I would have thought they would have game planned much better and not had wide open receivers in the end zone. So, I mean, anything is possible, right?
Yeah. No, the secondary for you guys is a just free range field. It
really is. It really honestly is. I mean, I can't tell you how many missed assignments by the free safety and the strong safety. I mean, that they're supposed to be given over the top help. And in all honesty, Booth is out there, with his head cut off, breaking ankles, and Overshawn or Wilson, neither one are around to give him any kind of support. So,
I skipped a lot of classes in high school, and I didn't miss as many assignments as that defense has.
I'm telling you. Listen, I don't know what they were doing.
All right, so let's move on to Brad's here. You know anything about Smith or AJ Brown's injury on them coming back?
Smith is still in
concussion protocol.
Yeah, that thing.
Yep.
He's still in concussion protocol, so he's not going to play this weekend because you have to clear concussion protocol by Friday to play on Sunday. So
Neighbors from the Giants. He's also in concussion protocol.
But he just went into it last night, though. He has until next Friday to clear it.
Yeah, but
Devontae Smith has to clear it by this afternoon or this evening whenever they do the final concussion test. Otherwise, he can't play Sunday. So chances of him going Sunday are slim to none.
For sure.
AJ Brown has not practiced this week yet with that hamstring.
Yep.
And everybody knows when it comes to a hamstring injury, just because they says it's going to be 2 to 4 weeks, it can be 6 to 8 weeks because knowing from personal experience, the hamstring injuries are always the toughest injuries to not only diagnose, but the toughest injuries to come back from. Because
they always linger.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, even if you're feeling better 2 weeks into that injury, you could go out there and start practicing, then re-aggravate it, and now you're done for 6-7 more weeks. Like, it's one of those injuries where just because you're feeling well, you may not be 100% for – realistically, you might not be 100% for the rest of the year.
Yeah, odds are you won't be.
AJ Brown, I don't see playing this week, and if that hamstring lingers in the next week, it's not going to shock me at all if Philadelphia puts him on IR and just basically says, we're going to give you extra time to get this right, because at this point, you're not getting on the field. So just sit a couple extra weeks to make sure you're 100% ready to go.
Yep. And then on the Kenneth Walker front, he did participate in practice yesterday in a very limited selection of plays, more of like a walkthrough type situation. He will be available for the game. He will not start. And odds are he probably actually won't get on the field. If he does, it'll be for half a dozen plays just to see where he's at. He will be a non-factor really in this game.
So what do you think it's going to propose? Do you think he's going to be back the following week in full course then if everything goes okay?
Probably not. Oblique injuries are funny because as
probably week 6.
You get hit there a lot. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a few weeks before he's up to speed. He'll probably get sprinkled in more over the next couple of weeks just to see how he handles the workload. But it's going to be all Charbonnet moving forward. And I mean, some of that is credit to the fact that they got a second round running back 2 years in a row.
Right.
So I mean, you don't necessarily have to hurry Walker back because Charbonnet has shown he can do the job. Obviously, a different style runner, but if the offensive line can create some gaps for him, Charbonnet's dynamic. He'll get yardage. So,
but you think it probably might be by week 6? You think he kind of gets back into that starting role, or do you think it goes even further?
So, week 6 will be questionable, right? Okay. It'll be kind of as he gets more work during practice during the weeks. It'll be, how much can he do? Obviously, you're not really hitting in practice, so he's going to get sprinkled in during the game just to see how it is he can do those hits. Yeah. But I would say week 6 would be the earliest that he would retain that starting role. Could be week 7. I forget exactly when Seattle has their bye week. I want to say it's like week 10. I think it's later in the year. So
yeah, that sounds about right. I think it is week 10.
Yeah, it's somewhere around in there. If somebody's watching, they can correct me, but it's right around in there somewhere. Okay. But that being said, I think you're still a few weeks out from Walker, especially if you're worried about fantasy points. He's still a few weeks out from being somebody you want to start.
And then from the Viking side of things, Darnold's good to go. Yep. Darnold just has a knee bruise, so he's fine. Jordan Addison is a game-time decision, but it looks like he'll be good to go. Dallas Turner will be back this week after sitting last week with a knee injury. He's good to go. And Jordan Love, as of right now, is a game-time decision. But that's just keeping it close to the vest. He's going to play.
You think he's going to?
They don't. In my opinion, they don't have a choice. Because if you lose to Minnesota right now and Jordan Love is not playing, you just put yourself 3 games back 4 weeks into the season. Because you will be sitting at 2-2. Minnesota will be 4-0, plus they have the tiebreaker. So you would be putting yourself 3 games back 4 weeks into the season if you don't play them, versus if you win, you're tied for first, plus you own the tiebreaker.
Well, you haven't played them twice yet, right?
No, but Minnesota has the tiebreaker, so until they play that second game, so if the Packers start 2-2.
Yeah, but that's not a real thing. Because you still have to play him the second time.
I know, but they don't play him till like week 16.
No, I know, but I mean, like that. That's a pretend storyline because you have to play him again.
I know that, but it's still the fact that even if they're tied, even if they're tied the rest of the way, though, Minnesota would still have the first place edge over them for that victory until they play the second time.
Yeah, but you can't go to the playoffs, so you play him the second time.
Well, I know.
So it doesn't matter.
He's just fortune telling right now. That's a fortune telling.
No, it's still the mindset the Packers have going into this, and even Matt LaFleur said that this morning.
You're just over here playing card tricks. Like that's not.
No, Matt LaFleur said that on his press conference this morning. He said if Jordan Love is going to play, this is the game that he's going to play. He's like being in a division game.
No. Like I get it because you want to win both of them because then you actually own the tiebreaker. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, you're selling you're selling a storyline that doesn't really matter because odds are they're going to split with each other anyway. That being said, we are at the top of the hour.
Real quick. I say one thing real quick. One comment real quick.
Hey,
so Chris Lentz says Jay is Jerry Jones' first cousin. That's Jay. Let me tell you something. If I was his first cousin, and God, I wish I was, because you know how much money I'd be having right now.
Oh, no, he froze. Oh, there we go. It seemed like a good time to mute you. I don't know.
I wouldn't have had Jerry Jones money, though.
Oh, I'm with you. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff. If you hung out with us today, sorry about that. And if you're on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the football as well.